Welcome, everyone, to another deep dive. Today, we're tackling a world that's honestly kind of taken over the planet: video games.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's huge.
But whether you spend all your free time gaming or haven't touched a controller since, the days of arcades,
Mm.
this one's for you. We're going to go way beyond just talking about, which console is best or whatever.
Right.
We're diving into the deep end of video game culture.
Exactly. And to help us navigate these waters,
Yeah.
we're using a guide published by the Council of Europe aimed at teachers and parents
Yeah.
about video game culture.
And it's fascinating stuff. We're talking about the massive impact these games have on, our world, how we think, how we connect,
Absolutely.
even how our economies work.
And one of the first things this guide stresses is that, video games are not just one thing.
Right.
You can't just lump them all together.
Totally. It's like saying books doesn't tell you if you're about to read, a sci-fi epic or a cookbook.
Exactly.
Video games are incredibly diverse.
Yeah. And that's even more true now because, genres are blending together.
Right.
It's hard to even classify games these days.
It is. So how about we start with storytelling?
Okay.
Because the way stories unfold in games is so different than movies or books. Some games have this hidden lore
Yeah?
that you have to piece together, like you're playing a digital Da Vinci Code or something.
Uh-huh.
And then you have these branching narratives
Yeah.
that are so complex, they rival any bestseller out there.
It's true. I mean, some of the writing in these
Yeah.
games
Yeah.
is incredible. And then you've got the way players interact with each other.
Right.
I mean, forget just sitting alone in your basement,
Mm-hmm.
mashing buttons. Now you've got collaborative problem solving,
Right.
intense team competition.
Yeah.
There's a whole social ecosystem in there.
It is. It's crazy to think about, but that ecosystem
Yeah.
is actually like a financial powerhouse.
Oh, absolutely.
This guide points out that the video game industry
Mm.
makes more than double the revenue. I know.
Of the entire global film industry.
That's wild.
Think about that for a second. We're talking serious financial clout,
Yeah.
which means these games have influence.
Huge influence.
They're shaping trends, driving tech innovation,
Absolutely.
even impacting global economies.
And a big part of that growth,
Yeah,
is mobile gaming.
right. Everyone has a smartphone these days.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that makes these games accessible to almost anyone on the planet,
Yeah.
which creates a massive audience.
It's a global phenomenon. And speaking of, global phenomena,
Yeah.
we can't ignore the communities that grow up around these games.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
It's more than just a hobby at that point, right?
Yeah, it's like a whole culture,
Yeah.
shared language.
Yeah. Like a way of life for millions of people.
You see it in online forums, in streaming platforms like Twitch,
Oh, yeah.
even esports, which are becoming mainstream now.
It's really fascinating to see how these communities kind of blur the lines between being a consumer
Right.
and being a creator.
Yeah.
Because people are contributing so much.
They are, and this guide shared this crazy stat about Twitch viewership back in 2020.
Oh, yeah.
Get this. They had the equivalent of almost 176,820 years of content watched
What?
in a single month.
That's insane.
I know, right? It's like watching every movie ever made back to back for centuries.
Yeah.
All in 1 month.
Wow.
And what's really fascinating is how these online spaces become like hubs for learning and creative expression. You've got seasoned players sharing tips. You've got newcomers learning the ropes. It's this constantly evolving culture.
And it's super dynamic.
Yeah. Okay, so we've established that video games are this massive cultural and economic force,
For sure.
right? But now let's get real for a second.
Okay.
Like anything with this much influence, there are potential risks we need to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. And this guide doesn't shy away from that. It brings up some important points about things like microtransactions and loot boxes. These are basically ways for games to encourage spending,
Right.
even if the game itself is free.
Yeah, it's like the siren song of virtual goodies.
Yeah.
These tactics can be especially impactful on younger players who might not fully grasp, the implications of spending real money on virtual stuff.
That's right.
And then there's the whole world of online interactions, in-game chats, online forums,
Yeah.
even the comment sections on streaming platforms.
Oh, yeah.
The guide points out that these spaces can become breeding grounds for negativity.
It's true. Cyberbullying and hate speech can run rampant online.
It's so disheartening
It is.
because, the anonymity of the internet makes people feel like they can say and do things they wouldn't dare to in real life.
Absolutely. And it's crucial for anyone interacting in online gaming communities,
Yeah.
whether you're a player or a parent, to be mindful of these risks.
Yeah, we need to have open conversations about responsible behavior online,
Definitely.
about how to report harassment and just fostering a culture of respect and inclusivity.
Absolutely. We've talked about the good, the bad, and now in part 2, we're going to dive into the ugly video game addiction.
That's right. Join us as we unpack that complex topic next time.
Welcome back, deep divers.
Hey.
So in part 1, we got a taste of how huge and influential video games are. But we also, dipped our toes into some of the potential downsides.
Right.
And now it's time to wade into a topic that honestly sparks a lot of debate: video game addiction.
Yeah, this is an area where the headlines can get pretty sensationalized.
Yeah.
And it's easy to freak out and think that every kid who enjoys video games is automatically addicted.
Right.
But the guide we're looking at, it encourages us to take a more balanced approach.
Right.
It acknowledges that video game addiction is a real thing, but it also says we shouldn't overreact. It's about finding that sweet spot, right?
Exactly.
Between healthy enthusiasm and problematic behavior.
And it's not always easy to tell the difference.
No, it's not. So, where do we even draw the line?
Well, the World Health Organization actually recognizes gaming disorder as a real condition.
Wow, so it's officially a thing.
Yeah, they define it as a pattern of behavior where someone has impaired control over gaming.
Okay.
They prioritize gaming over other activities in their life.
Yeah.
And they continue to game even when it's causing negative consequences.
So it's not just about the amount of time spent playing,
Right.
but the impact it's having on their life overall.
Exactly. It's about whether gaming is taking over and preventing someone from fulfilling their obligations and maintaining their well-being.
So think about it this way.
Okay.
If someone spends hours reading or playing an instrument, we don't automatically assume they have a problem.
Right.
It's only when those activities start to interfere with other important parts of their life
Exactly.
that we start to worry.
Right.
And it's the same with gaming.
Yeah. So the guide asks some really good questions for us to consider.
Okay, like what?
Like, are they neglecting their schoolwork, their job?
Yeah.
Are they withdrawing from social interactions?
Yeah.
Or neglecting their physical health?
Okay, so those are some pretty clear red flags.
Absolutely.
What if you are noticing those things in yourself or someone you know?
It's important to reach out for help.
Okay.
There are therapists who specialize in gaming disorder,
Okay.
and there are resources available to help families navigate this issue.
That's good to know. And this guide makes another really interesting point.
Yeah.
It suggests that sometimes excessive gaming could actually be a symptom
Yeah.
of some other underlying issue.
That's a crucial point.
Yeah.
Because it could be something like depression, anxiety,
Yeah.
or social isolation.
Right, so it's they're using gaming as a way to cope.
Exactly. It's a way to escape from those difficult feelings or
Right.
situations.
So maybe it's not about demonizing the games themselves.
Right.
But understanding what's really going on.
Yes, it's about addressing the root cause, not just the symptom.
And the guide really stresses the importance of having open and honest conversations about gaming, especially with young people.
Yes, create a safe space where they feel comfortable sharing both the good and the bad.
So it's about fostering a culture of support rather than judgment,
Yeah.
giving them the tools they need to make healthy choices.
And, as with any form of entertainment, there are ways to mitigate risks.
Yeah.
The guide talks about parental control tools, which can help set limits on playtime,
Yeah.
restrict certain types of purchases,
Right.
and even filter online interactions.
So it's like a digital safety net.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
all about finding that balance between allowing kids to explore and enjoy these digital worlds while also protecting them from potential harm.
Makes sense. And it's important to remember that gaming isn't all doom and gloom.
Oh, absolutely not.
In fact, in part 3,
Yeah.
we're going to dive into all the amazing benefits video games have to offer.
From cognitive enhancement and skill development to fostering creativity and social connection.
So stick around as we explore the brighter side of gaming.
All right, deep divers, welcome back.
Yeah.
We've explored the sprawling universe of video games. We've talked about the good, the bad,
The ugly.
the ugly, But now it's time to level up our thinking
Okay.
and focus on the incredible potential benefits of video games.
Yeah, let's bust some myths and explore how games can be a force for good.
Exactly, because it's so easy to get caught up in the negative stuff.
Hmm.
But this guide really reminds us that games can be just as valuable and enriching as any other form of media. Totally.
Hmm.
And a good place to start is by ditching that old idea that video games are just mindless entertainment.
Yeah,
Because at their core, they're all about problem solving.
yeah. You're constantly facing challenges, obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
You have to think strategically, creatively
Yeah.
to figure out how to overcome them.
It's like a mental workout, right?
It is. Whether you're solving a puzzle or coordinating with your team or fighting a tough boss,
Yeah.
you're using your brain, you're adapting, you're learning from your mistakes.
And those skills you're developing, they're like transferable gold.
Right. Critical thinking, adaptability, resilience.
Mm-hmm.
Those are valuable in any area of life, not just gaming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just like a feeling, you know.
Right.
There's actual research suggesting that certain games can enhance brain plasticity.
Wow. Brain plasticity.
Yeah, basically it's your brain's ability to change and adapt.
So like playing games can actually make your brain better.
That's what the research suggests. Improving cognitive function, boosting memory, even sharpening your attention span.
That's amazing. And there's even evidence that games can have therapeutic benefits too, right?
Yeah, like helping people manage anxiety or depression. Of course, more research is always needed.
Mm-hmm.
But it's super exciting to think about.
It really is. It makes you wonder how we can use that power even more effectively.
Right. And speaking of using that power,
Yeah.
let's talk about education.
Okay.
Because video games can be incredible teaching tools.
Yeah, they can be. And it doesn't even have to be a game specifically designed for education.
That's true. But the guide does introduce us to this concept of serious games.
Oh, yeah.
These are games that are literally created with learning objectives in mind.
So like human resource machine for coding or typewriter for the history of typography.
Exactly. You're learning while you're playing, and it doesn't even feel like work.
It's brilliant. And then there's that idea of tangential learning, where you learn something indirectly just from playing a game.
Like you get interested in a subject or a historical period without even realizing it.
Yeah, like maybe you start playing Assassin's Creed
Mm-hmm.
and suddenly you're fascinated by ancient history.
Right.
Or you pick up Never Alone and you find yourself diving into Inuit culture.
It's amazing how games can open these doors to deeper learning.
They make education feel less like a chore and more like an adventure.
Totally. And speaking of adventure,
Yeah.
we can't forget about the creative potential of games.
Oh, absolutely. Some games are like digital sandboxes where you can build worlds, tell stories, just let your imagination run wild.
Exactly. Games like Minecraft and Dreams,
Yeah.
they give players the power to create incredible things.
It's so empowering. And what's even cooler is that there are now resources to help young people make their own games, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like RPG Maker and Scratch.
Mhm.
They're turning players into creators.
It's fantastic.
Mhm.
We've come full circle, haven't we?
We have. We started by talking about the potential harms of video games,
Mm-hmm.
but now we're seeing how powerful they can be for good.
They can boost cognitive skills,
Yeah.
ignite a passion for learning,
Mm.
and unleash creativity.
It's all about approaching this medium with nuance
Yeah,
and recognizing its complexities and its potential.
absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of video games,
Mm,
I hope you're walking away with a fresh perspective.
I hope so too.
It's not just about entertainment, it's about engagement, exploration, empowerment.
It really is.
Yeah.
And who knows what incredible possibilities the future holds for video games.
That's the exciting part. Thanks for joining us on this journey, everyone.